Married man. Wrong. Well, back then we could marry kids, right? Is that what he's saying? Okay.
From 1,500 years, they are absolutely 100% okay with that. Enemy, community, father.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Actually, Aisha, if you hear that, if you have the history, is the lovely wife of Prophet Muhammad. He died on her. If you know that.
Yeah, I've read that.
Okay, so they don't have problem, but someone after 100, 500 years, 1,500 years, he talk about. We have a problem there.
Sorry,
no,
can I ask you a question about? Your answer?
Yeah.
So you said to him.
I give you an answer.
Are we allowed to discuss your answer?
It's my freedom.
Okay, if you don't want to critique a criticism of your answer, okay, no worries. If you don't, okay, but you don't want your ideas criticized.
I give the answer. I don't have anything more for that.
Okay, so then you're just not open to criticism.
I want to tell you gently, please. You are now want to record and make new conversation.
But I think the problem with your answer, my friend, is okay. Then walk away.
I don't want to.
You can walk away.
You see?
But the problem, you forced him to listen to you. But my problem with your answer is that with your answer, you've said that morality is contingent upon the moral norms of society in that era. And if you say that, then wouldn't morality be culturally dependent and not dependent on God?
Really, what is that?
Look, the reason why he wants to speak to you is because he has a response for you.
I have a response for you.
That's fine. That's fine. But where I don't have an answer for you, he has an answer.
Exactly. So he's saying that I am allowed to speak on his behalf.
Remember, I was speaking to Mansour before. And then I spoke to him, and then I spoke to 3 people today.
So, brother, am I allowed to speak on your behalf for this topic? Exactly. Because truth isn't dependent on me or you, but it just comes about, right? Okay, so can we talk about your answer?
No.
So I'm not allowed to talk with you. Okay, good. So then I'll just explain to you why that was a bogus answer, right? So what he just said to you is that the reason why it's okay to marry children is because back then it was okay, and now we have a different set of moral standards. But notice that his entire argument is contingent upon saying that morality and what is correct is according to the norms of that time. This is socio-cultural moral relativism, and it's not the type of morality that you should believe in if you believe in God. Because if I were to ask you, where do morals come from? Do they come from what we societally agree on, or do they come from God? What would you say?
Society, what we agree on.
Well, but as a Christian, what would you say?
Oh, as a Christian, it comes from God.
Okay, it comes from God, right? And he would say that as well as a Muslim, right? But if you say that morality, what is good is what is societally agreed on, then any moral atrocity which was agreed on by the majority of people would be correct if you were in that era. For example, if I teleported into the 1700s, according to him, it would be okay for slavery because it's socio-moral cultural relativism. So then the real thing that we need to talk about here when we're talking about is it okay for that age of marriage to be correct should be scientific studies on the effects of people who are married at that age. And the fact of the matter is that when people are at that age and they get pregnant, they have sex and things of this, they experience adverse mental health effects, they experience higher mortality rates, and they experience higher rates of disease, etc. So I would say that scientifically it is at least the suggestion that we can know through natural science that to have sex at such a young age is morally wrong, which is why his answer was bad. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
I agree.
Do you have anything to say about what I've said to you? No worries. So I think that we've agreed then that there isn't a good Muslim response to the whole Aisha was married at 9 thing, because scientific studies and natural philosophy will point us to the fact that you should not have sexual intercourse with someone who has only just began puberty, because we should have sexual intercourse with people who have finished or completed that process, right? Which is why in the West people usually use the age of 18, because usually people complete that process from around the ages of like 14 to 17 and 18. So to be safe, we'll say the age 18.
Exactly.
Right? So we can know this through principles, through natural philosophy, However, I think the individual here is just imploring philosophy which tells you that, look, whatever's morally norm at that time, it's okay, do that. He doesn't even agree with that himself, so he's contradicting himself.
I mean, according to what even he said, if it's more like morality is more relative to the time period, right now, or even like for, the past 2 years or so, the LGBT have been more prominent and been agreed upon by society, then that means it is morally right for a man to sleep with another man. Would he agree with that? That's the question.
Exactly, and he wouldn't, right? So it's not just because I think his point is that he thinks that the only reason you think it's wrong is because you exist today where we are. That's not it at all.
The thing
is because of the effects that it has on someone at that age when they have intercourse and when they are married, which is what makes it incorrect.
The thing is, God is the one, God should have the highest, because we all confess that God is almighty. He should have the highest point of morality. So even according to marriage, he could have said it from the beginning of time. Literally, Adam and Eve were adults. Could have said it from the beginning of time to make the basis of the morality. It wouldn't be relative to how the culture shifts at in any time period. There is going to be a base of the morality that is according to all time, because God is the standard of that morality. But if you're saying that it was the moral of the time, then God did not make the morality of that time. Thus, the people make the morality of that time, making them have higher moral above God.
Yeah, it's basically atheism at that point when you appeal to that. But I honestly don't think that there are any good Islamic answers to this question.
It's being stuck between a hard place and a hard rock.
Yeah, you have to defend it, but it's something that's objectively not good to defend. And notice that when they tried to discuss that with you, they tried to isolate you from everyone else in the park, because this is a tactic that they do at the corner, right? I want you to watch out for it as well. When they find someone that they haven't seen before at the corner, what they will do is they will try and drag them away from everyone else so that they can try and indoctrinate them quietly.
They do
That's
work on a lot of logical fallacies, and they try to corner some, let's say, people that are new in the corner. They try to corner them via logical fallacies to get them to agree on something that might sound even though it's false. You know, so that's why they try to isolate you. Thankfully, we have knowledgeable Christians here. I would rather say, like, don't let that isolation happen, you know, because they will put you in a corner just to put it on blast, saying, hey, these Christian missionaries couldn't answer this question.
Yeah, and that's why he pulled you aside and he said, I'm only speaking to you. I don't want anyone else to speak, right? Because he knows that he doesn't want anyone else to give any input, even though it doesn't matter who speaks, because truth, whether it comes out of my mind, his mind, your mind, anyone else's mind, is still truth.
Amen.
It's still going to be truth. But
I mean, would you like to?
I guess unless you'd like to rebuttal, we can wrap up the video.
I don't care about his opinion. But
Okay, he agrees with everything that we said.
He agrees with what we just said.
My response would have been what he said.
So how would you respond to what we just said?
I don't want to mix the camera. I have very beautiful conversation with that guy, right? He get my answer clear. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, and he thinks that your answer is insufficient. So I guess that's where the conversation ends.
I guess so.
Yeah. So I guess I'll wrap up for the cameras. So it's been your boy Thomas Apologia.
Apologies. If we're using that same deductive reasoning, Allah was a God that appealed to the Arabians and it was popular at that time. Well, the Christian word and the polytheist word is more grander, and we all disagree on the concept of Allah. So they should leave Islam, because Allah is just a small group of people that believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there's more people that don't believe in it, so we should take their advice even more. So you should leave Islam.
Well, if you want to say whatever's the most popular is always true, then technically yes, yeah. But, yeah. With that being said, guys, it's been Thomas Apologia, Shake Your Beauty, and is there a name you want to give to the camera?
My name is Dimitri.
And Dimitri as well.
Fake name, right? Say yes.
Yeah. So we just had a discussion. Well, Dimitri brought up to Mansour originally the discussion on, and it's a genuine question. Didn't come out of a place of mockery, but you asked him the question of, there is an authentic hadith in the Islamic religion which says that the Prophet Muhammad married a 6-year-old and had sex with her or consummated that marriage at the age of 9. And you wanted a justification for how that could be moral. and then you got led over here by the Muslim Dawah team to try to talk to you about that and isolate you from everyone else. They gave their answer and refused to let anyone else comment on it. So we've just gone here to challenge his answer to your question, and we found out that it's an insufficient answer. So with that being said, God bless you all.